Breaking news! Something is brewing inside the Baltimore Ravens organization, and it's not just trade rumors. From quiet phone calls behind closed doors to high-level league executives pointing fingers, tension is rising fast. The defense is collapsing, internal doubts are growing, and now, a shocking recommendation has emerged that could flip the entire 2025 season on its head. But the real question isn't just what's happening, it's why this is all spiraling so quickly, and who inside the building might be to blame. But before we dive into all of it, make sure you hit that like button if you're a true Ravens fan. It's always amazing to see fans of all ages supporting this team. And if you feel like it, comment, "Go Ravens," to show you're still riding with the flock no matter what. NFL insider Ian Rappaport has confirmed what many of us have been wondering behind the scenes. Yes, Eric DeCosta is working the phones. Despite what John Harbaugh may repeatedly say about liking our guys, the truth is out. Baltimore is actively pursuing help on the defensive side of the ball. And with good reason. The Ravens' defense has been an outright disaster. They're giving up a league-worst 32.3 points per game. That's not just bad, that's historically unacceptable. We're talking about a bottom-3 unit in nearly every defensive category: yards, rushing defense, passing defense, total touchdowns allowed. It's an embarrassment, and it's clear something has to change. Rappaport's report brings some relief. For weeks, fans have been pleading for the front office to act, to make a trade, to bring in impact players who can turn things around. And now we know, it's happening. Calls are being made. Deals are being explored. But who exactly could the Ravens be targeting? According to Diana Rossini, 3 names have surfaced as top priorities: Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips, and Jermaine Johnson. All edge rushers. All players who could immediately help a defense that desperately lacks firepower on the outside. Let's break them down. Bradley Chubb is having a solid year. 4 sacks, 20 tackles, and 19 quarterback pressures. He's a disruptive presence, a guy who commands attention every down. Jalen Phillips isn't far behind with 19 tackles, 2 sacks, and 22 quarterback pressures. Jermaine Johnson's numbers are less flashy: 15 tackles, 1 sack, 11 pressures, but the potential is there. Of the 3, Phillips might be the most intriguing. He's young, talented, and probably comes with a cheaper price tag both financially and in terms of draft capital. He's also been more consistent in creating pressure than Chubb. If DeCosta can land him, it would be a major step towards stabilizing the defense. Unfortunately, not all the news is good. Titans star Jeffrey Simmons, once considered a dream target for Baltimore, is off the table. Rappaport confirmed that Simmons is not available. The Titans are building around him, and that's a blow. Simmons could have brought toughness and leadership to a defense sorely lacking both. But perhaps the biggest story isn't just about who the Ravens could add, it's about what's happening within the building. Rossini dropped a bombshell in her reporting. According to several high-ranking NFL executives, the one move that could truly fix Baltimore's season is bringing back defensive mastermind Dean Pease. Yes, the 76-year-old veteran coach, who came out of retirement last season to help settle things down, is being talked about once again. Even Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin credited Pease for helping turn the Ravens' defense around last season. And yet, he's not in the building. Not regularly, anyway. That's right. Despite what many fans believe, Dean Pease has backed away from a daily role this year. Jeff Zrebiec from The Athletic confirmed it. Pease isn't around like he was in 2024, and the results speak for themselves. The defense, once revitalized under his brief return, is now in shambles. So now the question becomes, do you bring Dean Pease back? On paper, it might sound like an easy fix, but it opens up a larger, much more concerning conversation. If you need Pease to fix things, what does that say about Zach Orr? Orr was promoted to defensive coordinator, and instead of elevating the unit, he's overseen its complete collapse. Fans and analysts alike are now asking, why does this guy need so much help? He already has Chuck Pagano in the building. Now we're asking for Dean Pease too? At what point do we admit the Zach Orr experiment just isn't working? No other coordinator in the league has needed this kind of crutch. If you're good enough to lead a defense in the NFL, you shouldn't need 2 retired legends holding your hand. Because here's the thing, when a defensive coordinator needs not 1, but potentially 2 veteran lifelines just to keep his head above water, you're not talking about a leadership issue anymore. You're staring at a full-blown crisis. And Ravens fans know this. They've watched a proud defense transform into a unit that bleeds yardage, misses tackles, and constantly looks lost in coverage. That doesn't come down to talent alone. It's about coaching, preparation, and having the right vision at the top. The idea of bringing back Dean Pease makes sense only if it comes with clarity. If he's returning, is he in full control? Is he calling the plays? Or is he just another voice in Zach Orr's ear? trying to steer a ship that's already taken on too much water. And then there's Chuck Pagano, another respected name added in the offseason, presumably to offer support and guidance. But again, how many safety nets does a coordinator need before you realize he can't walk the wire? This isn't about age, inexperience, or unfair expectations. It's about results, and the results have been brutal. Through the first chunk of the season, the defense hasn't just underperformed, it's completely collapsed. 23 passing touchdowns allowed. Dead last in scoring defense. These aren't growing pains. This is systemic failure, and continuing to build layers around a broken foundation won't suddenly make it solid. But the coaching concerns are just one side of this problem. The other side is execution. Even if Eric DeCosta pulls off a trade, and there's a real possibility he will, what happens if those players walk into the same broken system? That's the real danger. You bring in someone like Jalen Phillips, he gives you speed off the edge, bursts into the backfield, and then what? You drop him into a scheme that doesn't put him in a position to succeed? That's wasted potential, wasted capital, and worse, wasted time in a season that's quickly slipping away. And speaking of trades, let's take a closer look at what kind of deal makes sense for Baltimore. Chubb might be too expensive, not just in cap space, but in trade assets. The Dolphins know what they have. They're not just going to give him away. Jermaine Johnson, high upside, but might not be the kind of impact player Baltimore needs right now. Phillips feels like the sweet spot, affordable, productive, and still improving. But there's also an urgency to this decision. The trade deadline isn't next month, it's next week. DeCosta is running out of time, and so is this team. If the Ravens sit back and do nothing, they're effectively waving the white flag on 2025. Fans know it. Players know it. Even Harbaugh has to know it. There's another wrinkle here too, one that fans have been debating nonstop on social media. If Dean Pease isn't coming back, what happens next? Is it just Chuck Pagano and Zach for the rest of the way? Is that the plan? Because if it is, this could be one of the biggest coaching miscalculations in recent Ravens history. We're already seeing signs of frustration from the locker room. Body language, sideline arguments, confusion during play calls. It all adds up. The last time the Ravens had this kind of defensive identity crisis, they hit the reset button. Maybe it's time again. What's most frustrating is that the offense, for all its flaws, has moments of brilliance. Lamar Jackson is still Lamar Jackson. Zay Flowers is developing fast. Mark Andrews remains a weapon. There's something to salvage here, but not without fixing this defense first. Not without decisive leadership. And that's why all eyes are on DeCosta. The phone calls are happening. That much we know. But the next step, the one that actually turns this season around, has to come soon. Because if it doesn't, the Ravens might be watching January football from the couch. So here's the question I want to leave you with. If you're Eric DeCosta, do you go all in on fixing the defense with a trade right now? Or is it time to make the hard call and move on from Zach or entirely? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget, if you enjoyed this breakdown and you're passionate about Ravens football, hit that subscribe button and drop a like on the video. We've got more Ravens content coming your way all season long. Stay tuned, and let's see what happens next.